The next topic I want to get into is understanding evil, or I guess the lack of understanding, comprehension about evil. Okay, so one of the reasons why this has proliferated so long in society is the avoidance of us as a society looking within ourselves at our shadow and not following our heart, being confronted with decisions in our everyday life to take risks, to face our fear, and to follow our heart, and not doing that. Okay, so a lot of the reasons why we are here is choosing safety over choosing to a lot develop. Of the reasons why, okay? And when we come into that pattern in society where we start hiding, because if we're choosing safety, choosing to be safe over choosing to follow our heart and our intuition, we're hiding. When we start hiding like that, and we give power to our shadow, so hiding gives power to our shadow, there's a very dark collective shadow that begins to emerge as well.
All right. Ooh. What Gigi Yang is saying is so important. It's so important. I just cannot insist. Hola, Diego. How important it is. It's so important that I'm going to put it again, just the beginning to comment on that. I will try to... And what she is saying that... Okay, let's just listen again because it's so crucial.
The next topic I want to get into is understanding evil, or I guess the lack of understanding, comprehension about evil. Okay, so one of the reasons why this has proliferated so long in society is the avoidance of us as a society.
And I want to make a simple comment. What does it mean, evil? Paramahansa Yogananda defines evil anything that we do that doesn't make us happy. Listen how simple it is. It's just anything that we do that doesn't make us happy. That's what evil is in reality. It's not a monster, but any action or things that happen in our life that doesn't make us happy.
Looking within ourselves at our shadow and not following our heart, being confronted with decisions in our everyday life to take risks, to face our fear, and to follow our heart, and not doing that. Okay, so a lot of the reasons why we are here is choosing safety over choosing to develop, okay? And when we come into that pattern in society where we start hiding, because if we're choosing safety, choosing to be safe over choosing to follow our heart and our intuition, we're hiding. When we start hiding like that, and we give power to our shadow, so hiding gives power to our shadow, there's a very dark collective shadow that begins to emerge as well. So the more that we avoid facing our shadow, because if we're choosing safety,
I'm sorry. My microphone was off. Sorry. What Gigi was saying, that when we don't follow our heart, we don't follow our intuition, we give power to our shadow. What is our shadow? All these toxic energies that in a way are controlling us. We are going to have more clarity on this.
which happens naturally when we follow our heart, the more this sort of dark shadow rises in society to mirror our inner process of avoidance. So we have to understand that part of facing that, beyond being educated about what is going on and having the big picture in mind, is knowing that we have to own any energies inside of ourselves.
So what does it mean? When we start going inside, when we are listening to our intuition, we know what is our shadow. We know what are the things we have to work on. If our shadow is having fear, if our shadow is having shame, anxiety, depression, anything we have to heal. And she's talking about also the collective energy
That have contributed to this or that currently are contributing to this. It's not enough to pound our fists on the door to protest.
Did you hear that?
We have to change within ourselves the part of us that is like the evil that we are facing. We have to face the part of ourself that is like that.
This is like Jesus said, so you are telling me about the straw that I have in the eye, and you don't see the big, tree in your eye.
We have to face the part of ourself that is greedy, that wants, power, that wants control, that the part of us that wants safety. We have to face these aspects of ourself, our shadow.
You see, part of our shadow or the things we have to work on is, for example, we choose safety over following our heart. Instead of take a risk and do something brave, we just follow what is easier for us, but not what we have to do.
And when we begin to remove that, what will happen is in the higher realms, it will remove energy that they are needing to exist.
Okay, this is very profound, and I'm going to explain. This is extremely profound. These energy blockages, and there are deeper energy blockages that we call entities. Entities is just a unit of something. This is an entity. This telephone is an entity. You are an entity, I am an entity, Gigi Yang is an entity. However, there are very toxic forms of energy that they have consciousness, and they modify our moods, our actions and reactions. And if we are in power and we own our energy, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we realize that we have to heal and start working on that healing process, we are not creating toxic energies that feed that collective shadow that is embracing the world, but this is coming to an end.
So this is why spirituality is so suppressed or forced into a religious dogmatic system that doesn't activate the spirit at all, is because once humanity discovers that if they face their own shadows, it will no longer feed the collective shadow, then they, obviously the whole entire planet would change. So it's important to know that one of our biggest things is making sure we have a practice of taking risks, following our heart, and really investing in the development of our spirit and our heart, rather than just hiding and trying to do everything safe and becoming smaller and smaller and having that shadow in society rise to eventually lord over us.
What she said there is so important. When we indulge into fear of anything, or the evil things, the things that we are dealing with and we are not healing, we are raising this toxic energy and feeding the collective shadow, the collective toxic energies that are embedding this world, and eventually that huge shadow or toxic energies will come down to us. And I will tell you a story. When the crisis started, I realized I lost most of my clients. And I say, well, if the situation continues like that, I won't be able to pay the rent. I'm going to use all my savings. And so I say, okay, I'm going to move out to a place where maybe renting a room and find a place to practice. And also I have this situation with this roommate. I say, the only way to get rid of the roommate is leave this place. And then after a week or a few days, I realized that I was acting out of fear. And I realized I need to trust God. I cannot act out of fear. And I decided to stay. That was over 2 months ago. I mean, after May 5th, about May 5th. So a month and a half ago. May, June, yeah. And guess what? As soon as I took the decision, I'm going to stay because I trust that God will help me somehow. Things start coming into place. And this week I have more clients than ever, and I'm going to be just fine. But what did I have to do? Like Gigi said, take risk, follow my heart. I didn't know what was going to happen in the future, but this is just a little example.
Okay, so we have to see this as a reflection of ourselves, and this takes a lot of maturity.
So Gigi is saying that the collective toxic energy that is affecting the world, we have to take it as a reflection of ourselves. What does it mean? That we have to see in which part we are collaborating, bringing more toxic energies to this world. And we all have a little bit here. We are holding grudge with someone. We are playing the victim that somebody did this or that to us. Or we are angry and we go to the street and destroy the business because I am angry for whatever. Or things like that. All these little things are making a collaboration with the negativity of the world. That's what she's saying.
Okay, this takes a lot of maturity. And the faster that we start doing this, the better, because the more that this progresses, looking at this level of darkness in society, psychopathic level of society, brings forward our shadow anyway. It brings forward our fear, our mistakes, times we cheated ourselves. Now, we don't have to be as severely distorted and demented as these people, but whatever we do have in there is going to automatically come up. And that's actually a huge part of the grieving process that is going on. It's not just that our world is going to be different now. It's that we are having to face parts of ourselves that we have been avoiding.
So remember when Nancy and those who had participated in Janet's sessions, when she said, because of the collective fear, well, she didn't name it like that, she said, because of these unprecedented circumstances that we are living in, all these deep energy blockages are rising. Well, that's what Gigi is saying on another words. And the reason I make this comparison is for us to know that people who are in touch with the truth, they say the same truth with a different language. She uses shadow. Myself and Janet, we call it deep energy blockages. We call it entities. But there are all those things, all these negative things that we are bringing consciously or unconsciously.
Okay. So we have to kind of enter this process of darkness within ourselves and get a handle on that, so we can depotentiate a lot of what's going on and get ahead of what this process really is, or get aligned with what this process really is. And as we're doing this, we have to know that there's going to be some people in society that are a lot better at doing this. It's kind of like it's mentioned and they're like, oh yeah, I know this. I know that the collective shadow is only a representation of my inner shadow and our collective shadow. And they start doing the work and things start going and inspiration comes and things start moving because they get what's going on. They get the initiatory level. Because we're all going through an initiation in humanity. The first one I mentioned was releasing leadership as parental figures and being sovereign.
Okay, that little phrase is huge. Releasing leaders as authority figures and regain our sovereignty or sovereignty, I don't know how, to be empowered of our own energy. Remember that, because there are many leaders that are more in the dark side than in the light side. And the difference between the dark side and the light, or the truth and what is not true, is that what is not truth is very close to the truth. It's very close. And we have to use our discrimination. And regarding that, tomorrow with Jorge, we are going to talk about, or he will talk about, the use of the pendulum. We need to start using our intuition with the pendulum. If we cannot see the energy, if we don't have a deep intuition that we were born with that, we use the pendulum.
The second one is being able to obviously face our shadow.
So facing our shadow means to be honest with ourselves. What Janet says, go to nature and do an inventory of your life. And I remember I did that, and I realized what are the things I have to work on. I have to work on things too, like all of you, every day.
And people get it and they're like, yes, okay, I'm facing my shadow. And they start benefiting from this situation. Actually, they begin to get spiritual rewards. They begin to heal. They begin to get new inspirations that become the foundation of really a new society, a new them. This can be used positively, okay? But there's also going to be some people who cannot do that. They've chosen safety their whole lives. They've hidden their whole lives, and they've had many opportunities to open their heart, to connect with their spirit, to think about the big picture of what's going on, to read about MK Ultra, to read about Project Mockingbird, to challenge the narrative. They've had a long time to challenge the narrative, and we live in an internet age. So there's been a lot of it literally would take 3 seconds to challenge a narrative today. And they've chosen not to do that. And as individuals, we have to let people choose to not move forward with their life. And this is one of the hardest things, I think, for...
I'm going to put the subjects that Gigi was talking about. I copied this from the original video from Gigi. Okay, here. I just wanted to put it in the right. Oh no. Okay. It's too many words. Okay, it's very important that you take the time to learn about these things. I'm going to put it in two parts. And for Facebook, I think it will go, yeah, okay. So, let's keep going. We have to be aware of those projects. It's very interesting. After listening to this video, I heard about the project Mockingbird and MK Ultra many times and the paperclip. I never pay attention. And when I read it, there is a lot of education there.
Empaths and really caring individuals is to see people choose to continue to erode and degrade as human beings. We have to understand that that is their choice, and that allowing people to be sovereign and choose whatever they can choose, at the end of the day, choose whatever they choose is loving, okay? We can't force people to wake up. We can't force people to face their shadows and to realize that they matter. You can't force someone to realize that they matter. And even when we try to force people to look to see how beautiful we think they are.
This is one of the hardest part, at least for me. And I had to learn in the hard way. There are people who are not ready to wake up. And then Gigi will say soon, they have to go down to hit rock bottom and learn on their own. I am in a situation right now that I would love to talk to this person, but this person is not, I cannot convince this person of the things that I believe they will help her. We just have to wait for them to ask for help. But it's very difficult and it's impossible, and we shouldn't try to change people. We just put the information out there.
It doesn't work that way. They think that we're mocking them sometimes, or it goes in this really weird way. If anyone's ever tried to reason with somebody that's already in a very deep downward spiral, it can get very convoluted because their perception becomes very, very different than your own.
For those, I think a cloud. Nancy, you miss Janet's session. I forgot to tell you. But on Sunday after the session, Janet says, if you feel the need to contact someone to say your truth, don't do it. I remember very clear, because that was for me. It's exactly what Gigi is saying.
Okay, they cannot perceive love the same way, okay? So we have to allow people to go down whatever path they want, and at the same time we have to be doing our work and helping anybody who does want to listen, okay? So that is part of understanding evil, is understanding evil within ourselves, or understanding shadow within ourselves, and understanding that people in society have a choice to completely dedicate themselves to that path should they choose to, okay?
This video is about 45 minutes long. It's amazing. I suggest you to watch it in its entirety. I think I have the link right here. I will copy for all of you. And I will summarize this. What this lady, which is very, very wise, said is that we need to have the courage to follow our heart, to follow our intuition, instead of hiding, instead of choosing safety, because we are afraid of the change, and life is change. It used to happen to me. I like the things how they were. I didn't want any change, and guess what? God gave me change after change after change. So I see that what I planned in my life, it didn't happen. However, I am happy with what I have. If we don't follow our heart, if we don't follow our intuition, we are creating a toxic energy that feeds the collective toxic energy of the world that she calls the shadow. Realizing what are the things we have to work in life. If we have fear, if we have shame, if we procrastinate, if we don't wake up early, we stay too late sleeping in the morning, or too late in the computer at night and we don't sleep well, that's what we have to work on. And if we do that, we feed the collective toxic energy, and eventually that will come back to us. So when all this crisis started, I felt it right away. It was very difficult to meditate in the morning. It was very difficult to do things. We lose our enthusiasm. So what did I have to do? And I did it, and I'm doing it every day, to double my efforts. And I made meditation, 1 hour meditation in the morning, 1 hour in the afternoon, mandatory. I want to tell you there are many people that are helping a lot in this humankind, doing processes, energy processes, to reduce the collective shadow. But as Gandhi said, we need to be the change that we want to see. I just want to also mention that Paramahansa Yogananda has 5 chants, devotional chants, where he talks about the shadow. The very first one says, "In the land beyond my dreams," which is a state of consciousness very deep, beyond dreams, where no shadows come. Where no shadows come. No, I say no. Where no clouds come. But the cloud is the synonym of a shadow. There is another that says, "I come, O blessing light, the shadows must flee." What does it mean? When we bring the energy of deep meditation, of being happy, of a devotional chant, of being in nature, but in general to being happy, when we bring this light into our body, the shadows must flee. Another one says, "Who is in my temple?" Our body is the temple of our soul. All the lights, the chakras, do open themselves. All the doors, the chakras, do open themselves. Darkness, like a dark bird, flies away. That darkness is our shadow, is our toxic energy, are the energy blockages. There are many others. For example, there is another that says, when the wisdom awakens with the opening of the spiritual light through meditation, darkness will steal away. And steal away means to take it like in a hidden way, and these shadows leave. So all this is everywhere, maybe in a hidden way. All right, 6:28, I am amazed. Los Angeles Laker, how are you? ¿Cómo te va? We are going to do 15 minutes of meditation and the half an hour healing session. Remember that meditation, in my opinion, is the best way to work on our shadows. I have my video is a mirror on the other side. So let's meditate for 15 minutes. With intention to calm down calm down our heart and our brain, to stop the constant unnecessary thinking. Remember that the way to collaborate, to starve the collective shadow, is to change ourselves, not to feed these dark energies that are affecting the world with our own little energies. To take responsibility of our own energy and let everyone else take responsibility of their own. This is the reason that I do these energy healing sessions. There are many other healers who are doing that, And I am inviting you to participate, all those who speak Spanish. Tomorrow, my friend Jorge Briozzo will do an amazing free workshop, experiential workshop, where, well, he will do very cool things. I suggest you to come tomorrow at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Los Angeles time. All right, 6:30 o'clock. We start the meditation taking a deep breath and tensing our whole body 3 times. And then we make a prayer in the language of our heart, something like that, a general prayer like that. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, saints and sages of all religions, we bow to you all. Beloved God, we come to thee to sit at thy feet of omnipresence, to receive thy blessings, thy protection, thy guidance, and to offer thee all the love of our hearts. Always we practice all these exercises and meditation techniques with a gaze, with our eyes lifted and our concentration on the spiritual life. We are going to practice this breathing technique. We inhale to the count of 6 or whatever you can count comfortably. We retain, hold the air to the same count, 6, and we exhale to the count of 6. Something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We release 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With the spine straight, without touching the back of the chair or anything. We do this exercise for a minute or 2. The eyes lifted to the spiritual light. Now we are going to put our attention into our breathing and just follow our breathing without forcing the breath. We just observe how the air comes in and out of our lungs naturally, always with the eyes lifted to the point between the eyebrows. we are going to add the mental repetition of the word Hong So, Hong, H-O-N-G when we inhale, and So, S-A-W, when we exhale, that in Sanskrit means I am him, I am God. We are remembering and reclaiming our divine nature. With the eyes lifted to the spiritual eye, being aware of our breath and repeating, pronouncing mentally Hong when we inhale and So when we exhale. And now we are going to practice a simple pranayama, which is moving the energy up and down the spine. We visualize that there is a white light at the base of the spine, and when we inhale, that energy enters the base of the spine, the root chakra, and goes up the spine through all the chakras, like through a hollow tube, the back of the head, the neck, the medulla oblongata, the back of the head, the top of the head ends in the spiritual eye when we inhale. And when we inhale, we visualize that white light of energy going back from the spiritual light up to the head, back to the medulla oblongata, and down the spine to the first chakra. And following the breath, we time our visualization to the natural breathing. This energy goes up from the first chakra to the spiritual eye when we inhale. We visualize in each inch of our spine and head going up, and when we exhale, going down. Always the eyes lifted to the spiritual eye. Let's take 3 deep breaths. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And when you meditate at home, this is a time to talk to God and ask for anything we may need. You can lay down on your bed in any comfortable place. We're going to start the group session. And please repeat after me. All the things toxic, dark and negative that ever came into me before my birth, after my birth, and until now, all those things must leave me now and return to where they came from. They don't belong to me. We're going to do it one more time and do it out loud, wherever you are. With a consciousness that we are talking directly to these toxic energies, that because they are energy, they have their own consciousness, stating very clear we don't want any toxic energy in our bodies. Repeat after me. All the things toxic, dark and negative that ever came into me before my birth, after my birth, and until now, all those things must leave me now and return to where they came from. They don't belong to me. When you are laying down, the arms on the sides without touching the legs, with the fingers open, to allow the flow of toxic energies. Emotional blockages are freed from our arms and hands, and physical blockages, some of them, are moved away through our legs and feet. Make an intention if you wish. I want to have the courage to do this, to do that, to confront this person, to say my truth, to follow my heart, to follow my intuition. And the deeper intention, I want the root cause of what doesn't let me get there, doesn't let me be truthful to myself, doesn't let me to choose to take a risk over to being comfortable. I want this energy blockages doesn't let me to follow my heart, to be remote. We start right now. I'm going to put a music. And I'm going. Hey, what happened? Strange. I'm going to sit in the place where I meditate every day. It's better for you and it's better for me. And I'll be back in 30 minutes. If you are enjoying the peace and relaxation, stay there. Know that most of the sensations that we feel during this session is release of toxic energies. I really don't have to say much about Gigi's young video. However, I would like to summarize and invite you again for this workshop tomorrow in Spanish. Gigi Yang defines what in New Age is called the collective shadow, which is the sum of all the toxic energies that humankind produce. That individual toxic energies we bring when we have fear, all these toxic emotions, when we are going through pain, suffering, whether we know it or not, where is it coming from? These toxic energies literally feed from our toxic energies. When we don't follow our intuition, our heart, and we choose convenience, we choose to hide, we choose not to take a brave decision, to take risks. In Liu, I think it's said, in favor of being comfortable as opposed to being uncomfortable, making a decision, we are raising our shadow, our toxic energies, that fits the collective toxic energies, the collective shadow, and that eventually comes down to us, affecting us. So we have to be responsible for our own energies. We have to be responsible for whatever we need to work, whether it is laziness, some kind of shame or guilt, anxiety, depression, fear, staying in a relationship that is toxic for us, doing a work that we don't feel comfortable doing. All those things are food for this toxic collective energy. So in order to starve the collective toxic energies, we need to starve ours. And we have the power to choose to do that. Sometimes we have to do an inventory, to sit down in nature, in a quiet place, take a notepad, and say, okay, I'm not exercising very often, I need to exercise. I'm not eating well, I need to prepare my own food and eat well. And I need to work out this relationship, this friendship, that we have an uncomfortable situation, and be brave and confront the situation. Confront doesn't mean that we are going to fight. It means to talk to this person and say, okay, there is a misunderstanding here. Let's give us the opportunity to talk about it. instead of feeling uncomfortable with each other. For example, with an ex relationship, with a relative, with a coworker, just with a friend. It's very simple what Gigi talked about. However, it's very deep. And this is the way that the world will change, by starving these toxic energies if we don't feed them. I want to invite you for tomorrow's workshop, empowering through the reconnection with the divinity, the personal and group divinity, at 4 p.m. for those who speak Spanish. I love you all, so I see you tomorrow at 1 for the group healing session, at 4 for Jorge's workshop. Un abrazo, Clau y Nancy, si estás por ahí. Espero que les haya servido. I mean, I love this Gigi Yang. Gigi Yang es una persona realmente extraordinaria, muy inteligente. Y lo que dice es... hasta mañana, Alejandra. Y lo que dice es very down to earth. So, no es una persona volada que habla de cosas que nadie puede hacer. ¿Se entiende?